So we got the jobs report last Friday for the month of August. My guess is it's going to be heavily revised. Looks like a sequel in Washington. This time it's for the 2024 budget. The government could shut down at the end of this month. I hope everybody plays nice in the sandbox. The de-dollarization of the world currency may have already begun. And mortgage rates definitely have a hard edge. It looks like the economy can handle it until it can't. Welcome back to This Week in Mortgage, everybody. I'm Sam Battaglia at Mortgage Black in Beverly Hills. I hope you had a great week. All right, so last Friday was the 1st of September. We got the jobs report, a little quick in my opinion, so my guess is these numbers will be revised, but let's go through some of them. 187,000 jobs created. That checks a box for the Federal Reserve to stop raising rates, as I think you need at least 200,000 to call it a robust report, or just in line with expectations, mine at least. Unemployment is up to 3.8%, highest level since February of 2022. That's also going to check a Federal Reserve box for slowing things down. Wage inflation was only up 0.2%. Again, that should check the box for the Federal Reserve to take their foot off the gas when raising rates. And moving forward, well, looking backwards actually, they also revised June and July's numbers down last week for us. And like I mentioned, I think August will also be revised down when we get the September report in October. Quick note about jobs and labor. Everyone in Hollywood's on strike. The UAW in Detroit's looking to strike, I guess. I haven't read a lot about it, but those are the headlines. Unions seem to be gaining a lot of steam, especially when you have to show up to work to perform your duties. How long this is going to last is the unions having some leverage. How long this is going to last, I think, is going to be dependent on how quick AI can replace these union jobs. Some of them can't be replaced, of course, not yet anyway, but some of them, I think, there might be a path for some of these companies to get rid of some workers, which, as we know, Wall Street loves it, so companies love it. We will see how the union strikes shake themselves out. Moving on to Washington. So the federal government has until September 30th to reach the 2024 budget. The reason it's September 30th is the government's fiscal year begins October 1st, like some corporations do for that matter. So September 30th is the last day of the year economically for the government, so they've got to reach that agreement there. So who gets affected when the government shuts down? About 800,000 federal workers. They shut down national parks. People miss their food stamp payments, actually. And there are major disruptions to environmental and food inspection. Those last two, environmental and food inspection, I mean, we have to stay upright to have any kind of economy. So it's a big hassle for everybody when the government shuts down. The most recent shutdown we had was in December of 2018. It was actually the longest in history. It was 34 days. And it actually ended when the air traffic controllers on the East Coast, I'm going to guess JFK, LaGuardia, Newark, I guess they didn't show up to work. This was 5 years ago somehow now, but they didn't show up to work, and then somehow magically the government shutdown ended when people could not get to and fro where they needed to be. And of course, the undertone of this does not put a lot of confidence out there. And as we know, we all need confidence to move forward every day. All right, moving forward. I think this is a very undervalued story this year. It should be talked about more, but things are so crazy in our news cycles, we can't really get to anything that's actually, somewhat relevant outside of our borders. But the de-dollarization may have already begun. So the U.S. dollar has been the world reserve currency since World War II, right on the heels of that. It was at the Bretton Woods conference that this was established because the U.S., because of the Greatest Generation, and thank you for your service, we won World War II and things kicked up here, obviously, as we all know. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank were also established at that point. And we became the world reserve currency, and that was a big deal. That gave us a lot of standing in the world and our modern world. That's where it all stems from. Our power, essentially, came on the heels of what we were able to do in World War II. Of course, oil is traded in dollars, and most commodities are, of course, traded in dollars. That's why sometimes, since we are not on the gold standard anymore for the last 50 years, They call it the petrodollar because barrels of oil are traded in dollars. But a lot of countries are thinking about leaving using the dollar, and some have already started trading outside of the dollar. China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Brazil, to name a few. And then some other big countries like India are also looking at maybe steering away from the dollar. I don't really like this. It takes away a lot of our standing, in my opinion, in the world stage. It's showing a lack of confidence in the United States system right now, which if you watch our news, because we can't talk about things like this, I don't really blame anybody. Stability of our economy is heavily pegged to the health of the dollar and it being used as a world currency. So we don't know what's going to happen in this modern era because we don't know any other reserve currency since World War II. And there's a calmness and a confidence to society that happens, our society for that matter, which spills over to the rest of the world when the dollar is in play as a world reserve currency. So this would be a big disruption in things. I really don't want this to happen. As of now, as of a recent indicators, 58% of global foreign exchange happens in U.S. dollars. That's huge. We're probably 5% of the world's population, and 58% of the trade is done in our currency, and that's why we are who we are. And some things are going to hurt confidence. Confidence is the name of the game, as we always know, and this is not going to be good if people de-dollarize themselves from pegging everything to us, basically. Not really sure how that's going to shake out. Moving on to mortgage rates, so far it hasn't broken the real estate market, these elevated rates, but boy is it close. It has definitely slowed things down, and the real estate market and the economy in general will be able to handle higher rates until it can't. And that's usually a general rule of thumb. It's ride it till it breaks, essentially, and that looks like what the Federal Reserve is going to do. So everything's going to be fine until it's not. And rates coming down, like I've been saying, rates will come down when they're supposed to come down. Most likely it'll be an event that drives interest rates down. And maybe if the government shuts down, that could help interest rates come down. Maybe if all these countries get together and stop using the dollar, that could help rates go down. Or that could make rates go up because people don't have a lot of confidence in us. Who knows? But those are two as good reasons as any for interest rates to come down. But nothing has peaked its head yet, but I guarantee you it will. All right, everybody, that is my show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, be a good neighbor, take care of each other, be a kind person, have a nice weekend. Looks like a nice day out there. Enjoy football season. Thank you, as always, for watching.